Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day two of the Learning Up to Spears program by Diary of Hackers. So today we'll be, we'll be continuing with our outline. So following our outline, together we'll be talking about how to navigate the file system and some commands, tips, and tricks we should be familiar with. It's going to be somehow lengthy. We have some couple things to talk about, and at the end of today's session, we are going to have a Q&A session which can be found here. I dropped the link. So when we get to the session, you are required to use these links to answer the questions. So let's just get started with today's session. And as I said yesterday, we'll be working on our terminal throughout the meaning of this session. So I'll open up my terminal and we can get started right away. Now, yesterday we familiarized ourselves with the terminal. We discussed the things we can see on the terminal. So today we'll be focusing on how to navigate the file system. And you'll be using a couple of commands and try to explain what the command is, how it functions, and how we can navigate the file system generally. The first command we'll be looking at is the pwd command, and the command means print working directory. So let's say you have a terminal open and you want to find out the directory you are in. So the pw command is print working directory and it returns the current working directory you are. So we use pwd and enter. It shows my current working directory. Right now I'm at /home/footfish/doh. So the pwd command shows it prints the working directory. So that's that about the pwd command. Then the next command we'll be looking at is the cd command or the change directory command. We'll be looking at the change directory command. And the cd command allows us to change from one directory to another. So presently, I'm in /home/rootfish/doh. Let's say I want to go to my home directory. As we discussed yesterday, the home directory can be represented with the tilde symbol. So let's say I do cd, then the tilde symbol, and press enter. This takes me to my home directory. Now, if I run pwd again, we can see that we have successfully changed from this directory, which is root/doh, to this directory. Then to change back, we can also do cd, then give it the name of directory we want to change to. And now we can see that we have changed back to this directory. So the cd command allows us to change from one directory to another. Now this cd command has some functionalities we can look into. As I did earlier, when I did cd, then the tilde symbol, it takes me back to my home directory. But the command, if you run the command without any arguments, so let's say we just run cd, it also takes me back to my home directory by default. So if you run cd and you run cd, then the tilde symbol, both of them takes you to the same location. So running just cd and running cd with the tilde symbol, both of them takes you back to your home directory. So if you run the cd without any argument, it takes you back to your default home directory. So the basic syntax of using the cd command is cd change directory, then the name of the directory you want to change to. Then another thing we'll look at about cd is we'll change back to the doh directory. Now from this directory, let's change. When we talk about the building blocks of the file system yesterday, we know there's a directory called the /opt, which is /opt. So let's change to this directory. Now, our present working directory is opt. let's assume we want to change directory back to DOH. One option is to type, as I was saying, now we have changed directory to the /opt and we want to change back to the DOH directory. One option is to use cd. Then we know the DOH directory is in our home directory, so we can do cd, the tilde symbol, and go to DOH. That's one option. It takes us back to the DOH directory. Another option and faster way is to use cd, then give it the hyphen symbol. So if we use cd, then the hyphen symbol, it takes us back to the directory we are before we change to a new directory. I'll go over that again. So my present working directory now, my, pres- my working directory now is at cddoh. Then I change directory to the opt folder. Now, if I want to change back to the DOH directory, instead of doing cd, go to /home, rootfish, then DOH, an easy way is to just use cd, then pass the hyphen symbol to it, and it automatically takes you back to the directory you are before you change to a new directory. I hope you understand that. So moving on, the next command we'll talk about is the ls command. And this command simply lists all the files and directory in a particular directory. So let me change directory to my home directory. Now if I run ls, the command is going to return all the files and directory in that particular directory. That means if you use the ls command without any arguments, without giving it any paths, it's going to just list all the files and directory in that present working directory. Another thing we can do is we can pass a path to ls. So we can do ls, then let's say I want to list all the files in /opt. I can do ls, then give it the file path, and it's going to list all the files and directory in that particular path. So similar to the cd command, ls also has some switches we can use. So we do ls and give it a -l, it's going to do a long listing. So again, if you do ls, then /ls, then -l, is going to do a long listing. And you can also, another switch is -a, which is going to show hidden files or hidden directories. So the -l shows a long listing, the -a shows hidden files or hidden directories, and you can use them together. So again, the /ls-l shows a long listing of the files and directory. Then the ls-a shows hidden files and directory in a particular directory or a path you give it. So that's how we can list all the files in a directory. So to list files, we can use ls command. To show our present working directory, you use the pwd command, which stands for print working directory. To change directory, you can use cd. Then to list all the files in directory, use ls. Moving on, we're going to look at how to create files. So there are a couple of ways we can create files. One of the easiest way we can create files is to use the touch command. I just got a notification now. If you get disconnected, kindly join back as soon as possible. So we can use the touch command to create files. All we have to do is type the command touch and give it the name of the file you want. So let's say touch, then we do file name. And now if we do ls, we can see that this file has been created. Let me change that to the DOH, then do it again. So we'll do touch and the file name we want, let's say .txt. Now if we run ls, you can see that the file has been created. So what it does is the touch command creates an empty file. creates an empty text file. So you can see that the size of the file is 0. So it's just an empty text file. Now, before we proceed, let me quickly explain this. Now, running ls, you can see that we have these two directories. We have the dot and the dot dot. One of the quick ways to identify files from directory in Linux is the color. If you notice, the file is just white text, but a directory has a blue color. So a directory is shown in blue colors, then the file is just a regular white text. So we have the dot directory and we have the dot dot directory. The dot directory is the same thing as the current working directory. So the dot is the same thing as the current working directory, and the dot dot is the same thing as the directory one level above the current directory. So let's try to change directory, then we'll see the difference. So if I do cd, then the dot, I can see that I'm in the same directory. It hasn't changed because I'm trying to change to the same current directory that I am. Then if you do cd dot dot, you can see that this changes to the directory a level above the current directory. Now we do pwd, you can see that has changed to home rootfish. So the dot is just the same thing as the current working directory, and the dot dot is a directory above the current directory you are in. I hope that makes sense. So I was talking about touch command. So the touch command helps us to create empty files. So the syntax is just touch, then the name of the file, and it's going to create an empty text file. Moving on. So that's the touch command is one way to create a file. We are going to look at another way of creating a file by using a text editor. If you are coming from a Windows environment, you most likely be familiar with the Notepad editor. In Linux, an we also have an inbuilt terminal editor, and we have a couple of them. We have VI, Vim, but the common one and the much easier one to use is the Nano. So using Nano as a text editor, you can use Nano, then give it the name of the file. So let's say nano doh.txt. It opens the editor, then you can type in whatever you want to it. Then you can save it using Ctrl O and exit with Ctrl X. So now if we do a listing again with ls, we can see that the file has been created. Consider the file has been created, the file doh.txt, and if you do ls and a long listing again, consider that the file is not empty. Okay, I have a question. Should it not be a directory below with the upside tree concept? Okay, this is the way it is. Yesterday when we talked about the upside down concept of the file system, now the forward slash is the base. That means that's the base, that's the top of the file system. So if I go to slash home, so let's say I'm starting from slash home and I go to slash rootfish and I go to then DOH. If I'm in DOH, that means you are coming from the top, you are going from the top and you are going downwards. So if I'm in slash home, that means slash home is above rootfish and DOH. Because slash home, if you are in slash home and you change directory to rootfish, you are going a directory below it. Then the same thing for if you go to the next directory inside it's like DOH, you are going to a directory below it. So the dot dot, you are changing to directory above the one you are in, not below it. You are not changing directly to another one below it. I don't know if that makes sense. So we have looked at two ways to create a file. We can create a file with the touch command, and you can also use the nano command, which is a text editor, to create a file. We are going to look at one more way to create a file, which is the echo command. So to create a file with echo, you have to echo the command. Before we do that, let's just do, if you type echo and you give it any message, it's going to return it back to you. So what echo does is just echoes whatever you give it. So if I say echo hello world, you're just going to print it back. So it's just an echo, it's just going to show it back. So what we can do is, instead of returning the results to the standard output, we are going to redirect it to a file and save it there. So we can do echo welcome. So instead of printing to the screen, we can redirect it and say it should save to a file welcome.txt. Now if we do a listing again, we can see that we have the file welcome.txt and the size is like 8 bytes. So those are the three ways we're looking at to create a file. Now we'll look at how to open a file, how to view a file. To view a file, we'll be using the cat command. So as I was saying, looking at how to view a file. Now earlier we created a file welcome.txt and we echoed the text welcome into it. So to view the content of the file, we can use the command cat. So the cat command shows the contents of the file. So we can use cat, then give it the file name, and it's going to show us the content of the file. We can do the same thing for cat and do doh.txt, and it's going to show us the content of the file. So the cat command helps us to view the contents of the file. So another similar command to view content of the file, you can use the less command. So using less doh.txt does the same thing, shows the content, and same thing as the more command. So commands to view a file, you can use cat, you can use less, or you can use the more command to show the content of the file. Moving on, another thing we'll be looking at is how to create directories. So we have looked at how to create files. We can use the touch command, nano, or echo to create files. As I was saying, to make a directory, the syntax is just mkdir, which stands for make directory, then you give it the directory name. So let's say we want to make a directory with the name new dir. Now if we do ls, we can see that we have a new directory with the name we pass to it. So you can do mkdir. So mkdir creates a new directory. And also we can create multiple directories at once. So let's say we want to create, so mkdir, we can say create first dir, create second dir. So they can be separated by spaces and it's going to create them accordingly. So the to make directories, the command is just mkdir, which stands for make directory. Then we also look at how to remove files and directories. So to remove a file or directory, the command is rm, which stands for remove. So to remove a file, just rm, then give it the file name. So let's try to remove the welcome.txt file. So we need to do rm, then give it the file name. Now on the terminal, one of the things you can use is tab completion. So let's say I have a file welcome. Instead of typing the whole text out, I can just like type some part of the text, then press tab, and it's going to auto-complete. So to remove the file, just rm, which stands for remove, and give it the file name, and it's going to remove it. Before we do, I got a question. Why is the welcome.txt inside the new dir? The welcome.txt is not inside the new dir. If you look carefully, we do a long listing. You can see we have the new dir and we have the welcome.txt. They are in the same directory. The welcome.txt is not inside the new directory. So to remove the file is just rm, which stands for remove, then the file name. Running that, and if we do ls again, you can see that the file is gone. But we try to do the same thing for a directory. So let's try to do rm and try to remove the new directory. You can see that we get an error, and the error says cannot remove new directory because it's a directory. So to remove a file is just remove then the file name, but to remove a directory, you have to pass another argument, R, which stands for recurse. So it's going to remove the directory and every file inside it. So you can do rm, then the directory name, and now it's going to remove it. So there was this joke one time that they will tell you not to run this particular command. So rm dash rf then forward slash. So what this command does basically is it removes recursively, then forcefully, and it removes everything on the forward slash. And if you recall from what we discussed yesterday, the forward slash is your base system. That's where every other thing on your system stems out from. So if you run this command, is basically going to delete everything on your system. Like the whole file system will be gone. So they always tell you not to run this command because what it does is just remove everything on the file system. So that's how to remove a file. Then another way to remove a directory, I think we have the remove directory. Yeah. So similar to make directory, which creates a directory, you can also use the rmdir, which stands for remove directory, and you give it a directory name. And it's going to do something similar to the rm dash r we used. So all these commands, obviously you can't put them, you can't memorize everything. So there's always, to know more about a command, you can use the manual. You can read the manual. So there's a command man, which stands for manual, and it takes a command. So let's say we want to know more about the ls command. You can do man, which stands for manual, then give it ls, and it's going to show you more details about the ls command. So you can read through to understand switches. So what we use the other time, I use the dash a, and the dash a means all, and does not ignore entry starting with the dots. So you can read through to know more about any command. You can just use the man command. So you can also use man cd. There's no entry for it. You can use man, let's say man touch. So about almost any command, you can use the man command to read more about it. Also, you can use the help function of the command itself. So let's say I want to know about the CD. I can use CD, then hyphen help. So the help is going to show more details. It's just going to show you how to run the command and tell you more details about the command itself. So we have looked at how to print the current working directory, how to change directories, how to list files, how to create files, how to create directories, and how to remove files and directories. I will post the link to the post when we get there. We'll have the post soon, so I'll post the link again. So another command we'll be looking at is the find command. So let's say you have created a file in your system, and after some time, you know the file name, but you can't remember the particular location the file is at. So what you can do is you can use the find command to locate where the file is at. So let's say I know we have a file. Let's take dh.txt for example. I'm in my home directory. Then I know I have a file named doh.txt. I can't remember the particular location where the file is. So you can use the find command. That's a couple syntax which I will explain soon. The name of the file I'm looking for is dh.txt. Uh, don't mind this, I will try to explain it soon. So what the command is doing is going to, you are running the find command. Then as we discussed earlier, the dot is the current working directory. So it's going to find the particular file name recursively starting from the current working directory. I know the current working directory is this root fish. So it's going to start searching from this directory, then every other directories below it inside this directory. So it's using find starting from the current working directory, then the type is a file. So going back to this, when we discussed yesterday, I made mention of the fact that everything in Linux is a file. So your directory, your regular file, symbolic links, everything are seen as file in Linux. So if you are using the find command, you must specify which type of file you are looking for exactly. So the type of file you are looking for is just a regular file, which is F. Then the name, we know the name of the file is dh.txt, and the ls is similar to the ls command we used before, which shows a listing of the file. It shows the file size, the permission, and you can see that now we have the path of the file. So to locate a file, you can use the find command to find out where a particular file is located on the file system. Another command you should be familiar with apart from the find command is the locate command. So the locate command does almost the same thing. So instead of using this long find string, you can use locate dh.txt, and this should return the result. But now we can see that we used locate.txt, but we got no output. And the reason is the locate command, instead of searching the whole file system for the particular file name, it is a database. So the database is updated like once in 24 hours. So to correct this, to do that, we are going to try to update the database first using update db. I think I can use sudo, if I could type. So this command takes a while. So once the database is updated, then we can try to run the locate command again. So why did I redirect to dev null? The reason is the find command, as opposed to the locate command. The locate command uses the database, so it searches through a database. But the find command will try to find that particular file name you gave it on everything in the file system. So let me run the command again without using the redirection, and we will see the difference. So name is dh.txt, and now I won't redirect the output. Okay, this, let me try to search from the base of the file system itself. Now, if you notice, you can see that we are getting errors like permission denied and stuff. The reason is because the find command is trying to find this particular file name on every location, and if you don't have the permission, you are going to get errors like permission denied and stuff. So, and we don't want to see the error. So what I did is just to redirect the error to the null, which is like nothing, it won't show at all. We are going to be talking about redirections in a few minutes. So when we get there, we'll explain it better. So why I redirected is to not show those errors. Now database has updated. We'll try to use the locate command again. So now if we do locate doh.txt, we should have the file path. So the locate command and the find command does similar thing. It's just they do it different ways, because the locate command uses a database of files name it has stored over time, and the find command runs that particular query against the file system from the starting point you gave it. So to locate files on the file system, you can either use the find command or the locate command. Then another command we should look at before proceeding is the grep. So the grep command is to match a pattern from a file. So let's go back to our DOH directory. I think, okay, so let's edit this file using nano. We can say this is a new edit. Now we have welcome to day 2, and we have this a new edit in the doh.txt file. So using the grep command, we can search for a particular pattern in a file. So let's say we know there's the word welcome in this file. So to confirm, you can use cat, the file name. Instead of showing everything, we only want to show the line where the welcome text occurs. So you can pass it to the grep command. and use and search for the particular syntax you want. Welcome, and it should show you only the line that matches the pattern. So the grep command and the dash I is for case sensitivity. So you are saying the what you are searching for should be case insensitive, and the pattern you are looking for in this case, which is just the welcome text. Okay, do I meant to connect to the internet for use to? No, no, you don't need to be connected to the internet. When I said update DB, okay, another question: does that mean we have to regularly update the database to use locate command? Now, the difference between the locate command and the find command is the find command runs the query against the file system directly, looks for, let's say you provide the dots, so it's going to look through that part, then recursively to every other directories in it, and it's going to find a particular file. But command, the locate command on its own does not search the entire file system for what you give it. Now, the system itself, the Linux system, keeps the record of your file names, the files, the directories. So it's like a database. It keeps a database of all entries. So if you have a new file, let's say you have a file.txt, you have file2.txt. So the system keeps record of all files, their paths, their permissions like that. So like in every 24 hours also, the system updates that database, and database simply contains the part of the system. So let me try to do this again. I think the error I got the other time. You can see the database is located at var lib mlocate this. Let's try to see if we can open it. We can cut it var lib mlocate, then okay, this is not pretty. I'll try to use another command. I hope you have not support my terminal. Var lib, I think it's mlocate, then I'll see it anyways. Yes, it's a database, so I don't think I can view it manually. But if you what we did earlier, if you look at the lines again, you see something like, let me see if I can find an occurrence of it. So let me try to grep, then search for slash root. Okay, it's a binary file, I can't really open it. The database is just, it keeps a record of all files on the system. So you don't have to connect it to the internet. It's just a local database. Okay, to move back to the terminal from Nano, let me do this. If I could type, okay, I have the file duh.txt. Now, if you check the Nano editor, you can see you have some commands here. You have the this symbol, the caret symbol here stands for control in Nano. So to save a file, use Control then O to save the file. Then to exit out of this editor and get back to your terminal, use Control X. You can see that below here. So just press Control and X, and it takes you back to your terminal. So as I was saying, when you use updates DB, it does not mean you have to be connected to the internet. The updates DB is a local database the system itself keeps. So because I just created the file and it has not been updated, it has not up to 24 hours. That means the system does not have an idea I just created the file. So what we do is to update database records so it can cache the file in its entry. Then you can use the locate command again. So I was explaining the grep command. As I said before, the grep command is a command to help you look for patterns in files. So as I did the example, we can use, and I want to search for the text welcome. So we can do that, and it's going to return only lines that matches that particular pattern you are looking for. If you are coming from a Windows environment, you most likely familiar with the find str command. The find STR command does the same thing in Windows. It helps you search for patterns in files or in whatever command you pass it to. So again, if you need to understand more about any command, just use the man. So if you need to understand more about the grep command, use the man grep, and it's going to show you the syntax, how to use it, and basically more information about it. I think we should look at some tips and tricks before we move on to the directors, and that will be all. So one thing we want to do is now, let's say I want to change directory to, okay, we have a new directory, cd. Let's change directory to this first directory, and we can change directory back to this. So what I want to list all the files inside this first directory. So I can do ls, then do this command. Let's pass on switch to do a long listing. So if I do ls, then first there I have, it's empty. So let's say now I want to change directory to this first there I have. You can go ahead and type the name again. It's going to take you there. But a faster way to do it is, since I already ran the command ls, I ran this command before. Now, instead of typing this argument again, which is first directory, what I can do is type the new command I want to run, which is cd, then press alt and the period symbol on your keyboard. So it is cd, then alt and the period symbol, which is just the full stop, and it's going to print out the last arguments. Then to run commands you have run earlier, you can just press the up arrow, and it's going to cycle through all the commands you have run earlier. So if you want to go back to commands you have run before, you can just keep pressing the up arrow, and it show you all the commands you have run. And so the up arrow just shows you your history. Another command to be familiar with is the history command itself. So the history command shows you the history of what you have been running. So you can go through your history. If you need to find a particular command you want to run again, you can go through the history and look at it. So now I said to call the last argument, you can use the alt and the period symbol, and you can also cycle to your history to look at to get what you want. Then another thing is, let's say for example you run a particular command and you want to run that particular command again. So let's say I do ls. I'm going to be using that same command we ran earlier, first dir. I ran this command. So let's say I want to run this particular command again. You can go ahead and type the command again, it will work, or you press the up arrow to show the history. Another way to do it is to use the exclamation mark. So if you use two exclamation mark and press enter, it runs the last command again. So now we're just talking about shortcuts. So the first shortcut is to use the alt period to print the last argument. You can use the up arrow or down arrow to show your history. You can use the history command itself to show you the commands you have been running. Then if you need to run the last command you ran again, instead of typing it again or pressing the up arrow, you can use two exclamation marks, and it's going to run the last command you ran again. So before we look at redirectors, let's have our, I think we can have our pool now. I'll paste it on the chat again. So I'll give us like 2 minutes to get ready before we have the pool. So if you are ready, just indicate via the chat box. Okay, let's have it. It's just a couple of questions. So I think you can start answering the questions now. Okay, the first question. You have about 25 seconds. 20, 15, 10 seconds, 3 seconds. Yeah, that's all. Okay, what is the correct meaning of PWD? When we started, said that the meaning of PWD is print working directory, not present working directory. So the meaning of PWD is print working directory. So we move to the next question. Good job. So the next question is the commands cd and cd tilde perform the same function. Your time starts now. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. And that's all. So when we started, I also said that the cd command and the cd with the tilde symbol performs the same function. Why did you guys choose false? Uh, let's try to go over that again. So I will explain it. So share my terminal. So when I explained this, what I said was if you use just the cd command, it takes you to your working directory, your default home directory. And if you use cd with the tilde symbol, it does the same thing. So both commands do the same thing. The cd without any arguments and cd with passing the tilde symbol to it does the same thing. Both of them takes you back to your default home directory. So let's continue with the pool. So the next question, Ade Daniel, good work. We should end this meeting soon. So the next question is which of the following commands will display hidden files? So your time starts now. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 3, 1. That's all. So which of the following commands will display hidden files? And yeah, the command that will show display hidden file is the ls with the -a switch. So ls-a will show hidden files. And that's the correct answer. So the next question, good job guys. Moving to the next question, which of the following commands cannot be used to create a file? Which of the following commands cannot be used to create a file? Your time starts now. 20 seconds. 15. 10. 5. 3, 2, 1. So which of the following commands cannot be used to create a file? Yep. As I said before, we can use the echo command to create a file. You can redirect the output of the echo command to a file. So the one you can use to create a file is mkfile because that's a long command on its own. So you can use the mkfile to create a file. Then moving on to the next question. More people are coming in, that's great. So let's move to the next question. The grep command is similar to which Windows command? I mentioned this a few minutes ago. So the grep command is similar to which Windows command? Your time starts now. 20 seconds. 10, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the grep command is similar to which Windows command, and that should be wow. So everyone chose the right answer. So the grep command is similar to the find str command in Windows. So I think Adediane is still leading the dashboard, and that's all. That's what the pool will be doing. So I think we are running out of time again, and we can conclude today's session. So once again, thank you for joining, and I hope we have covered the how to navigate the file system. So a quick recap is we looked at how to navigate the file system. We looked at the pw command, the cd command, the ls command, how to create a file with touch, echo, nano, how to make directories, how to remove files and directories, how to use the grep command, the find command. So I hope that's clear enough to everyone. And also to know learn more commands, Sam shared a document with us yesterday, so you can use the documents to learn more commands. And if you need to learn more or know more about any command, you can use the man command, which is the manual, or you use the help command of the command itself. So thanks to everyone for joining and participating in the poll. And that will be end of today's session. Bye.